Hey, this is me building a $3 million a year business in public. The way these videos always go is I start with some YouTube comment Q&A just to deliver some value right off the bat. It's also sort of a growth hack because it grows my channel faster the more people that comment. Then I talk growth stats across YouTube, Instagram, products, and everything else. Then finally, I do a daily business improvement. Right now, my daily business improvements are all me doing Maker School community exclusives. If you don't know what that is, just wait a little bit and I'll explain. This is my main channel here, 135K subs. This is the daily updates channel. I just scroll all the way down to the bottom and then I answer the oldest question. Oldest question today is from Saqib. He says, "Hey Nick, love your work. Everybody talks about building these AI systems and selling them for X amount of money. Could you please tell me, how do you deliver your automation to clients? For example, you created a custom chatbot. How do you actually integrate that chatbot on their website? And what are the steps you take to make sure the client's data is secure, private, and then how do you make sure the automation is error-free? Thanks." So Saqib is being really clever and sneaky. He's trying to get a lot of questions in with one, but that's okay. I will absolutely humor you and I will answer them one by one, because I think these are awesome questions to have answered. I think a lot of people are probably suffering from similar thoughts here. So publicly subscribe to me for a month. Well, thank you very much. You know what? What am I doing here? I'm just going to take a screenshot of this. Way easier. Okay. So we got a couple of questions from this, right? The first is, how do you deliver your automations to clients? So the first is delivery. And this is a good question. The reason why you're asking this question is probably because the way that you're considering your delivery right now, like you're making it out to be a much bigger problem than it actually is. I don't even really do any deliveries. Like I build everything in the client account. And then like when it comes time to do the delivery, I just send them an email telling them that I'm done. And then I send a video recording of like some documentation, maybe with like a Google Doc or something, if we talked about that as well, just running them through how to actually do the system. So that's delivery in a nutshell. The way that, most people from like N8N technical backgrounds always think about this, they're like, oh, I got to deal with API keys. I got to deal with authorization. I got to deal with all this stuff. You don't actually have to deal with the vast majority of this. You can just completely sideswipe that just by building inside of the client environment. And if that doesn't make sense to you, then check out this kickoff call SOP. It is my current favorite approach. When I get a client, I run them through more or less this whole document step by step. I get all of their credentials, access, email address, passwords, whatever that I need in order to like get into their N8N or make.com. And then when I build it out, I just do it like on their thing. Okay. So that's sort of number one. Looks like the second question is, how would you integrate a custom chatbot on their website? And what are the steps you take to make sure that client's data is secure? So the second question is chatbot. Let's do that. Third question is security. And then the fourth question is errors. And these are, as I mentioned, all really good questions. So that's why I'm humoring you and I'm doing them all. So delivery, that's done. For chatbot, the way that I do chatbots is in N8N. N8N has like a little embed widget where you can actually embed a chatbot to the bottom right or bottom left-hand corner of the website. It depends. You actually have total control over that. So let me show you a quick example from a chatbot that I created earlier. I think I did this for a YouTube video. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm just going to type in agent. It should be somewhere here. Okay, this is a setting agent that I did during Make Money with Make office hours. You see, it's very simple. All we do is we double click this, make chat publicly available, copy this chat. You have to set the status of the N8N flow to active. Then when you paste it in, you see it right over here. Okay, that's option number one. Option number two is instead of hosted chat, you do embedded chat. What you do is you then scroll down and copy the CDN embed version of this. And then all you have to do is you have to change the webhook URL to this. And then voila, you now have this on your website in the bottom right or bottom left-hand corner. So the actual delivery of a chatbot is super easy there as well. All you do is you obviously just copy the CDN code. Third, how do we make sure that the client's data is secure and private? I'll be real. I work specifically with with industries that don't make me do this because I've struggled in the past dealing with industries like medical, legal, health tech, financial, and so on and so forth that have like top-down regulation put in place that make it a lot trickier to do things like take customer data and feed it into models. I much prefer working in industries that are basically the wild, wild west of, digital marketing and business. So mostly it's creative agencies, it's SEO agencies, pay-per-click ad agencies, digital marketing businesses in a nutshell, consultancies, that sort of stuff. So security for them usually isn't a very big concern. And I usually also work at a size where nobody cares too much about the security. What they care about is my ability to drive growth. Now, if I was working with a big enterprise or whatever, my approach would be a little bit different, but this is what I've chosen because I consider this the highest ROI. Why would I work with a market where I have to cross all my T's and dot all my I's when I could work with a market that tends not to care about that stuff, right? Just, reduces friction on my end. Sometimes I get clients that care a lot about privacy and security and whatnot. And so my approach is personally, I assuage their concerns to the best of my ability. Oh, like your data is stored over here. Historically, here is how that data has survived or persisted or lived. It's removed every 30 days or whatever. And here are maybe some relevant links to legal statutes that talk about like how companies are supposed to take care of customer data. But if they want more than that, if they want me to like self-host my own thing, if they want me to build something on their device on-prem, I just avoid it because it doesn't make sense to me. If you wanted to tackle enterprise, you would have to learn a couple of different things. Like there are HIPAA compliant make.com alternatives, for instance, like Caragon, that are pretty cool. But this is sort of just outside of the scope, I would say, of my personal business model. So I'm a little less likely to be able to give you guys value here. Like HIPAA compliant automations without code, that sounds pretty cool. But then you realize, if you want to sign up, the professional plan, which is the one that you need for most things, is $400 a month for 2,000 workflow runs. And then they charge you 7 cents every time that it runs after that, right? Like obviously costs and stuff make this a lot more difficult. Granted, enterprise deals are also our bigger fruit whose juice you can squeeze. You just have to take a different approach. Then how do I make sure the automation is error-free? I don't. There's no way to be 100% sure that your automation will be error-free. Odds are, you're going to build something and you're going to miss some tiny little step and there's going to be some break. So just let the client know that there are going to be some bumps in the road anytime you have a systems integration, and that your goal isn't to get 100% perfect, but to get it 80% perfect. And next week it'll be 85% perfect. And the week after that, it'll be 90% perfect, and so on and so forth. Okay? So just set reasonable expectations. If there's some error that is like super mission critical or whatever, obviously have infrastructure in place to allow you to deal with that quickly. Get an email notification, maybe do some sort of pass-through SMS notification or something like that if it's like a really mission critical one. But you can set up that logic in make.com easily with an error handler, and then in N8N you can set it up with like an error route sub workflow. Okay, Russellbus says, Nick, I started using Godspeed. I love it already, but I think my core issue is I need a better method to manage my to-do lists. You and Matt have talked a few times now about the now, soon, and later to-do list separation, but I think my general flow is the problem. What I will do is when I have an idea that needs to be added to my to-do list, I just set it for the immediate next time slot so I can quickly bookmark that idea. Then I end up with this huge stack so that it becomes overwhelming. What's the method to your madness when it comes to to-do lists? If I can get more effective at this, it will snowball. Great idea. What Russ is describing right now is more or less this idea of getting things done by David Allen. It's the same approach that I use, same approach that a lot of like high performers use, I find. And I'm not saying it's the best system on planet Earth, but it's a pretty good system. For those of you guys that don't know, if I just go over to images here, the system is basically this in a nutshell, okay? You have a bunch of things that are currently causing you stress and that are kind of difficult up here. And what do you do with them? You get them out of your brain as quickly as possible, and you capture them using some sort of intake. So in our case, Russ was talking about using an app called Godspeed, but there are a variety of different ways you could do this. You carry on a pen and a paper. You could do it on your phone using Bear. You could use Evernote, like variety of different apps and stuff like that. Then routinely, maybe like once every day or something like that, you have a system where you just go through top to bottom and ask yourself, is this actionable? Is this something that I can actually do? If the answer to that is no, you put this in the garbage. If the answer to that is not garbage, sorry, the archive. If the answer to that is yes, then you ask yourself, can I do this in 2 minutes? If so, you do it. And then if not, you defer it. You can delegate it. You can put it in the next actions, or you could store it in like this project folder if, things get even more complex. So this is, it's a slight modification, I would say, to getting things done. It's not exactly getting things done, but I will paste it here just so that we have it. You guys can check out the Lucid Spark if you guys need this. But yeah, I really like this, and this is personally the approach that I use. So just to answer your specific question, man, like you don't set it for the next immediate time slot. In fact, don't add any time to it whatsoever. A to-do list is different from a calendar. All you need right now is you need a way to capture, and then after you need a way to filter. When you do your filtering, you can filter it in like the next actions. If it is less than 2 minutes, do it right now, and then you can do all of the tasks right now. Like if it takes a minute, you should do it right now, right? That's just like the rule. Takes a minute, get it done. It's not that big of a deal. And then, you can add different layers to your project management system, like a project system, like a waiting system, and so on and so forth. Hopefully that helps. Matrix says, always appreciate the info. Thank you. Chris says, just move into a suite style hotel till you get internet at your house. Suite style hotel. I don't think I've ever heard of this before. Let me look this up. Suite style hotel. What the heck is a suite style hotel? Really? Oh, that's really interesting. Okay. Well, that makes sense to me. Yeah, I guess I could have done this. One of those things where you don't know what you don't know. Thank you very much, Chris. Appreciate it. Joe Fu says, epic as always. Thank you, Joe Fu. Appreciate you, man. Jack Smith, 9456 says, I remember seeing in one of your videos a quick demo how you do cold email outreach with a Loom video link. I can't remember which video you showed it in. I can't find out. So I was wondering if you could give a quick video demo again, how you'd set up a cold email campaign with Loom videos included for each outreach. Yeah, the thing about these Loom videos is these are custom. You may be thinking about a video where I used cold email like as a way to acquire clients, but I didn't have like a cold email system in place. Like it's not like I automated the process of sending the Looms. I have experimented with that and stuff. I haven't found it works really well. So what you're probably referring to is just like a Google Sheet, honestly, where I have like, I don't know, like first name, last name, I don't know, company name, mail, icebreaker, and then I have like Loom. And then I literally would just add all of my leads here, and then I automate the icebreakers, and then the Loom I would just go down one by one by one, record a video talking about their thing, and then maybe I'd have like a scent or something. That's more or less the system. If you're talking customized Looms, it is sort of at odds with like the high scalability of a totally automated cold outbound. So something that I think that's some nuance that I think a lot of people don't realize. And the only real way that this would work is if you do this well, it's not the only way it would work, but the best way for this to work is if you just sit down and do it yourself. Do like a 2 to 4 minute Loom recording. You talk to 15 people. That's about an hour of your time. I think we can all fit in an additional hour of our time to get 15 hyper customized sniper rifle like outreach, right? Mohammed says, Nick, quick question. I was going to start outreach with Instantly, but I got into thinking that if I could door-to-door sales of businesses with a pre-built prototype of the automation, I can integrate with their point of sale. Would that be worth it? I don't recommend it. This is coming from somebody that went door-to-door for a big chunk of my early career. Door-to-door is just extraordinarily exhausting. It is more of a self-improvement thing, I would say, than anything else. If you're super masochistic, then maybe. But yeah, it's just like pound for pound return on investment. Selling digital products or services, you can do so much more scalably and efficiently with things like Loom videos, because you get the same impact of like hyper customization or whatever, but you remove all of the fluff, like the drive time there, the walk time from door to door, them not being available because of X, Y, and Z reason, and so on and so forth. Okay. Like I can't tell you the number of times that I walk into a business owner just isn't there. That's like 30% of all the doors you walk into. That means that like the fixed cost in driving there and walking from business to business and so on and so forth, completely wasted. You'll never get that back. Anyway, Builder X Tutorial says I should drop a comment as well. I guess you should. Thank you. I've done my deep research, went online for competitors, and a lot more things I get my hands on. Have some answers, but would love your thoughts on this. What automations or productivity solution could be offered to a crypto digital marketing agency to social media market for their clients, and what solutions can I offer their clients as well? You could offer an automated long form to short form repurposing pipeline that hits really well for this sort of like social media marketing style. You could do, like they do social media marketing specifically, so you could do automated asset generation. You could automate big chunks of like the social media marketing process. You could integrate with like Buffer or Hootsuite. Good luck doing that with X, unfortunately, after their API changes. You could do like a proposal generator, because most of the time if you're selling social media marketing services, you're doing it with some sort of like discovery call, closing call thing where like they whip up a proposal, they send a proposal for services, so you could automate that for them. You could do onboarding automations. So when somebody actually pays, like let's say a Stripe transaction goes through, you trigger a webhook, which triggers maybe you sending them some custom email, welcoming them on board. You could do automated like retention stuff where you build this big book of business, and then like once every few months or whatever, you just go through the big book of business in a completely automated fashion, just pitching them on stuff like, hey, really loved our XYZ project last year. I've been doing a lot of thinking about your business, and I don't want this to be out of left field, but I think I can make you all of this money, and here's how I think I can do it. Would this be worth a 15-minute chat? You know me, the quality of my service. I'd be willing to guarantee it, assuming that, you're down. Something like that works really well. Warm prospects are always better than cold prospects. You could do some sort of automated invoice follow-up system. Invoice chasing is a really big part of like social media marketing agencies. I don't really know. I guess with crypto digital marketing, right? You like taking most of your payments in crypto. I'm not really sure about that, but yeah. Fatima says, it was my first time joining and I enjoyed it for sure. I like the amount of information that you give with the easiest explanation for everything. Thank you for your dedication to the community. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I think that's it for today. We're coming up on 15 minutes. So why don't I now do some brand stats, and then maybe we can chat about improvements. Okay. Let me open this up. We are now at June the 16th. So heading over here to my main channel, looks like growth has slowed pretty substantially. 135, 258 puts us at just over 0.5% daily growth, which is unfortunate. The Instagram is looking pretty juicy at 212,772. So if I add that in, that looks like it's growing statistically the exact same relative percentage as yesterday. So this is wild. We have like 3 of basically the exact same growth. I wonder what the probability of that occurring is. Super low. And then let's head on over here to the daily updates and then take a peek. 6,770 I'm seeing. Just got to refresh this because I don't know if that's actually accurate. And it looks like that grew by about 0.5%. Okay, so I mean, 0.5% isn't terrible. If I just, let's just say, what's this, 6 days, 7 days? Last week, they've grown at 5.58%, which is actually pretty incredible if you think about it, Jesus. Which is, amortized over 7 days, 0.79% a day, which is actually just on par for my 0.08 growth rate, which I was looking to achieve. So if I get my current count, that's my sub count, and then I grow by 0.8% a day, I raise this to, let's say, the next 10 days. In 10 days, I should be at 146. I should cross 150 in 13 or 14 days. That seems pretty reasonable. So 2 weeks from now, end of June, I should be at 150. That was actually my goal for the end of the year. So I will have hit it literally 6 full months into the year, which is pretty great. Speaking of which, if that's 6 full months, how many days until end of year? Let's see. Showing us 198. So if I just extrapolate this, assuming I can continue growing at this rate, actually, that is pretty bonkers. I should be at 655,000. Now, I don't think this is likely. I think realistically what will happen is I'm going to grow at a fraction of this. So let's say I grow 0.04, then I'm still going to be at about 300,000, which is just insane growth. That was actually the goal that Matt told me to shoot for, which is pretty neat. So yeah, that's pretty sick. I'm liking that. I'm liking the growth rate. Let's now jump over to Maker School and see what we're doing there. So 306,796, and then here's 22.37. So this has gone up, but I expected this to go up. This has also gone up. If we head over to here, which is kind of the games, I'm actually back in the green again at 68.38. I was in the red very temporarily for I think like 2 days or something like that. But now we're back up. So we've added something like 7K in the last 7 days, about a K a day. What's interesting is like Spencer just does not slow down, man. This guy's coming up 30K away. There was a period there where he was, I think, like 60 or 70K away, right? Where I just shot so far above him. And then he sort of slowed down and started churning on his end. But I think like seeing me beat him actually got him super motivated again. And he seems like a kindred spirit. So looking forward to chatting with him. We're supposed to meet up sometime soon. So, I mean, it's indisputable that I'm going to continue winning for at least the foreseeable future. One big thing I want to do is I want to make a big post, essentially summarizing my growth over the course of the last maybe year or so. I guess, how long's it been since I launched this thing now? 8 months, I think. I had meant to do that like a whole month ago when I hit the GOAT status, but I just kept on having other priorities. So that's unfortunate. Obviously, my main goal here is to reduce churn at this point, because if you think about it, like this is 22.37%. That means that more than a fifth of all of this just disappears every month. And, like mathematically speaking, this is 306 right now. That would be 240 next month, which would be, I don't know, it's another fifth of that, 180. I mean, like I'm really only a couple months of non-performance away from like absolute shit, assuming nobody joins, which is very statistically unlikely, but who knows, right? And I don't want that to happen. I don't want fragility. So what I'd prefer is if I can get this down about 17%, which is where I was when I was growing really quickly. And so what I've done is I've started making these community exclusive posts where I add additional content to Maker School that like other people don't have access to. And that's what I did yesterday. So I actually recorded a 53-minute tutorial following up on what I told you guys I would do. And then I publish it here. And it looks like it's performed pretty well. We got a lot of views, obviously, got a lot of likes and so on and so forth. And I think I offered a lot of value. I built it out in LucidSpark, which is that app here. And if I just run you guys through, not the whole thing, but yeah, there's like a fair amount that I wrote here, visualized, and I'm reticent to use the term taught because I don't really think of it as teaching. I think of it as showing for the most part, but showing just a bunch of things that are really helpful for me. Now, churn is up from yesterday when I did this, but you got to keep in mind that the way churn is calculated is on a monthly basis, right? So really, any changes in churn that are positive are at about 1/30th of what they will probably be, assuming I can keep this up. There are also some sort of compound knock-on benefits. So that's the way that I'm thinking about this. They say churn the last 7 days, but the stat, technically has to be monthly because that's the length of time that people subscribe for. So let's say over the course of the next week, I see a 0.5% reduction in churn. That means that I'm headed in the right direction. And if I just multiply that out by 4, I should be expecting a 2% reduction in churn by, like the end of the month of doing this approach. I like to, my goal over the course of the next 7 days is instead to see a 1.25% reduction in churn, because multiply that by 4, it'll be 5%, which 22 minus 5 is 17. But I don't know if I'll actually be able to do that. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that's what's running through my head right now. I'm not expecting that I would fix my churn problem immediately because it's very statistically unlikely. Me seeing a slight bump, that bump is probably just the inactivity from 2 weeks ago, and it might actually get a little bit worse before it gets better, simply because that's how things go. I was unable to record a video yesterday because it was Father's Day and I spent most of the day outside, but that's okay. I'm going to record one today. And then, yeah, that's that. Oh, my shoulder's getting a little bit better. Got a appointment at the doctor's. So we're going to follow up on that. Let you all know how that goes. Definitely check out Maker School if you guys like this sort of like real-time business strategy. I do it more or less every day. I responded to, I think it was like 45 or 50 threads today. So you guys like the sort of Q&A that I deliver here. You guys will love the Q&A inside of Maker School. Also guarantee your first customer in 90 days your money back. That's the offer. So you guys haven't absolutely bored of me saying that at the end of every video. Now's your time. And yeah, I'll catch y'all tomorrow. Looking forward to it.